Once you finish installing the MD-1 and download your app, it's time to configure it. For this simulation, I already added a couple of lights and a wall switch. What I want to show you next is how I will add and configure the MD-1 in our app. So you are looking at the PoE app lighting group, and in it we have outdoor front light, which is what I called this group. And in this lighting group we have 3 lights, a wall switch, and no motion detectors. As we can see, the next trigger point set on our schedule is at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and the lights are going to come on at 50%. This is the global on-off button, so if you push it, the lights will turn on and off. Now let's add the MD-1. From here, you would click the dot menu, then edit. You can see the 3 lights that are already added. If I hit the wall switch tab, you can see the wall switch that has already been configured. And if I hit the motion detection tab, you will see there are no motion detectors installed in this group. To add it, we would hit the plus sign and the app will go into discovery mode, and whatever is on the network and in the correct subnet will display here. This is the motion detector that we installed, so I'm going to select it and hit save so I can bring it into my lighting group. Now the app is adding the device and configuring it in our lighting group, and you will get the success message. Then you would hit close, and now you can see it in the motion detection tab. Now to configure it, I hit the dot menu, then edit, and now I can rename it to whatever I like. By default, it will say serial number in the name field. I will rename it to outside. Now there are 2 ways to trigger the lights. One is through the motion, and the second is by the light condition. What light condition means is when it gets dark to a certain degree, then the lights will automatically come on and stay at that level until the brightness increases. The light level adjustment is completely customizable to your desire. For now, let's go back to the motion and enter our preferred settings. The first setting is sensitivity, and you can drag the button to set the level of sensitivity you want the motion detector to have. I also wanted to highlight that this is now being done by our app, and you don't have to go up on a ladder like the old days to change the dial manually. Next, we're going to configure our auto shut-off timer. In the past, you would have to go up to the motion detector and adjust the dials manually, but here you can just select your preference from the menu. You can set it anywhere from 10 seconds all the way up to 40 minutes. For demonstration purposes, let's just pick 8 minutes. And finally, we have the light setting, which is called motion test. So if I select it, it sets the motion to trigger whenever it senses motion regardless of the light condition, which is perfect for when you're calibrating your MD-1 to detect motion and you're figuring out the best position to point the motion sensing head. It would automatically trigger the lights for a couple of seconds and turn off automatically. Now let's talk about the light sensor threshold. You can drag it all the way from 0 to 500 lux, which is typical default level. Now, if I press the button for default twilight, what it does is it will automatically set it to about 100 lux. 100 lux is dawn and dusk times, so it is probably the default level you want to use to trigger the motion detector. But let's say in this case, this MD-1 is in an area where it is pretty bright due to an external source of light. Now, I don't quite know what the exact level of lux is, but what I want to do is at this time, when you are at the darkness level where you would want the MD-1 to trigger, you would press the Learn Lux button, and it would determine what level of lux it is at that time. And in this case, it came back with 8 lux. So now, that is the level at which this motion detector is going to trigger. For now, I'm going to hit default twilight because that is what I want my levels to be set, and I hit save. That's it. So to test it, I'm going to wave my hand over the motion detector and instantly the app will show you that motion has been detected. This is a very useful feature to make sure everything is functioning and that the motion detector is being triggered. This is very innovative and a completely different approach to detecting motion compared to what is out there in the market today. Finally, the last feature is if I want my motion to snooze for a certain amount of time. Let's say in this case I want to snooze for an hour. I would select it and I would hit snooze. And now this motion detector would not trigger any lights until this 1 hour has expired.